Have you or someone you know had an inappropriate relationship with Cal Cunningham? Call us at 1-800 I don't give a fuck. There it is. Or someone you know had an inappropriate relationship with Cal.
Do you know I'm supposed to get the coffee maker today? 1-day delivery on something I don't need in 1 day. Isn't that the way it always...
Welcome to Amazon.
You know, that's why they're having hearings today.
To break up Amazon?
No, to say that stop delivering shit in 1 day that doesn't need to be delivered in 1 day. Everybody knows how stupid that is.
Please stop. That's why hearings are going to solve that. All right, I shared it.
All right, I think I got it. I got it. Hey, we're here. Hey.
Well, everybody's here.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy there was a guy that complained one day that the ratio of your camera is different than mine? I think you're 16:9 and I'm 4:3, but I can't really change it on my computer thing. He said it was solely to show off my weight loss. That's what he said.
You lost weight?
It's a rumor.
Well, my picture is a lot clearer. My lighting is better than yours.
It is. It is. That's true.
Yeah. And I have my computer's way older than yours.
Yeah, but I still think the resolution on it's better.
All right, ready?
I am.
It's another Brad and Britt cast. We're glad you're with us here, live in the 1:30 hour on Wednesday. And you know what I was doing before we started, Britt?
What was that?
I was looking up some of the old "Attention White People" pamphlets that used to go around before elections in North Carolina. Okay, and we'll get to the fact that Donald Trump's biggest problem is that white people have started to leave Donald Trump in droves all across the board. But I was looking at this pamphlet from 1950, and in 1950, a young Jesse Helms met a guy named Tom Ellis, and they worked together on a campaign for a guy running for Senate named Willis Smith. And they put together a pamphlet that said in giant letters, "Wake up, white people, before it's too late. You may not have another chance. Do you want Negroes working beside you? Your wife, your daughters? Do you want Negroes eating beside you in public eating places?"
Wow.
Now we're only, well, I guess 70 years from that.
Take it all the way. Do you want them pissing beside you?
Well, you want to see what else it said here? Let's see. Do you want Negroes teaching and disciplining your children in school? Do you want Negroes sitting with you and your family at all public meetings? Oh,
do you want Negroes taking a dump next to you in a public restroom?
You didn't read my mind, but I was looking at, here's what it actually says. It says, "Do you want Negroes using your toilet facilities?" So,
oh wow.
So Frank Graham favors mingling of the races. That was the opponent, Franklin
Graham. Porter Graham. Yeah,
exactly. And so if you favor this, you want some more of it. If you do, vote for Frank Graham. If you don't, vote for Willis Smith for senator. Signed, Jesse Helms.
Jesse Helms.
There it is. So now the real question is, are states like North Carolina and Georgia completely past that? Or do we just think that we can wall off the people who still may have that running around in them, and the rest of us have moved past it, and therefore Joe Biden may win North Carolina, Joe Biden may win Georgia, or at least it was very smart of him to go to Georgia on Tuesday.
Oh no, Donald Trump could win North Carolina. I mean, I resigned myself to that, and it could be because of bullshit.
He could win Georgia too. He could obviously win Georgia too.
Well, particularly if they try to suppress the vote like they did in that election a couple of years ago for governor.
Okay.
Yeah, right. That could happen for sure.
Right.
But the tricks that you just talked about exactly are part of the reason. And those leaflets that are going to be going out about, hey, black people, if there's a warrant on you, you can't vote on, it's going to go in black neighborhoods. And if you're 2 months behind on your light bill, you can't vote, and all this other shit that they do all the time.
Assuming, and just for the sake of the discussion, because I know every time I do this, you'll go, you're fucking wrong. They still, assuming for the sake of the discussion that most people don't fall for that. Okay.
I'll assume
that doesn't win elections usually. It's a great discussion point, but there's no evidence that actually works right now.
And they still keep doing it somehow.
And they still keep doing it, but it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. There was a piece that came out yesterday afternoon after we got done. The folks at Time Inc. Put it out, and the title was "College-Educated Women Are Fleeing Donald Trump. It could cost him North Carolina."
That's right.
And they talk about the suburbs around Raleigh and the suburbs around Charlotte, and I guess you could say the ones where we are in the triad, but we're just too pathetic. We're the third market. Nobody talks about us.
We're the Rochester of North Carolina.
Just don't give a shit about us. But we want to be there with the big boys. We want to sit at the big boy table. So
never seem to make it there, though, do we?
Right. We count that too. The lead that Trump had among white people has just eroded across the country. It's eroded here, not quite so much, but with women, it's just beyond belief. It's beyond belief how much he's lost. And with college-educated women,
he's been crying, on the campaign stuff. Suburban women, please like me. Right. Remember, he's been doing that like at several stops. And very soon it might be white people, please like me. I mean, you don't know.
Well, he actually does say that. He doesn't say it quite so explicitly.
He doesn't. Think about it. Well, I mean, we save suburbia. That's like, do you want black people living next to you in your nice suburbs? I mean, that's essentially what that is, right?
And you know what's stunning? And this is just like the pamphlets. There's no evidence, particularly in the modern era, that kind of crap works.
No.
And I think there's even less evidence that Donald Trump can run around and say, suburban women like me, that's going to make them like him.
No.
But it's so condescendingly stupid. And you pair that up with, I'm going to get your husband's job back for you.
What is that?
Do you like that one? What
kind of Mad Men 1955 shit is that?
Right.
I don't understand.
Right. But with with college-educated women, Trump lost that one only by 6 points to Hillary Clinton. Okay. Right. Do you know what the number is? He is now down in that category to Joe Biden. He was down 6 to Hillary in the year of the woman. What do you think he is now?
I'll say it's a 32 gap, a gap of 32.
Nice try. It's 37.
Oh, Jesus, really good.
All right.
Good.
And
I was wrong.
Right. So now it's not quite so stark in North Carolina, but it's still way up for Joe Biden over Hillary Clinton. And the number of Hispanics grows in North Carolina really, really fast. And Charlotte and Raleigh, two of the fastest in the country. We probably are too.
That's why Hispanics in North Carolina.
Hang on, let me finish it. That we know that because the radio station we worked at fired our ass, changed formats, and went Spanish.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stepped on. I apologize for stepping on that.
Right. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's just that had to be a complete thought there. There was couldn't be a break in there. Okay.
Well,
so we know that. Yeah.
I'm just scared that the Hispanics here are going to be like the Hispanics in some other places where, like, I don't know, we kind of like this Trump guy because that's happening in certain places, and I don't. In Texas, for example, the Hispanics who should hate Donald Trump a lot more apparently don't hate him as much as they should. It's very odd.
I think that's not quite as true as it's being portrayed to be true.
Okay.
I think that's a Fox meme, because what they do is they go out and find the Hispanic Republican leader of Harris County, put him on, And then he goes, yeah, we love Donald Trump. He's for entrepreneurship. He understands capitalism. And we're a hard-working people. And they find a guy like that, and they try to make you think that, oh, boy, the natural inclination of Hispanics to be a Democratic boy, that's not true anymore. Donald Trump is so smart. And it's not true. It's not true.
I've seen some polling numbers, and it's like way closer than you would think it would be. And also, Florida is also like, you've been wringing your hands about that for a while, about the Hispanic support in Florida, which should be 90 to 10 in favor of Biden, and it's not. But it may end up on election day that they end up having a lot more support. They may be having a lot more support for Joe Biden as far as Hispanic vote goes than is being portrayed now. I don't know.
Right.
And we'll see what happens with early voting. Now, since I had to answer your question, you have to answer mine. What the hell's going on with the stock market? Because things are taking a shit over the past couple of days. And is it just what's happening?
You ready?
Yeah.
COVID.
Okay.
The beginning and the end of it. COVID. There is a point of no return where you can look at other numbers, but when the COVID numbers start to explode all over the country, and you see the city of Chicago shut down restaurants again, for the most part, you got to think that if it's happening in Chicago, it ain't the last and only city that's going to happen in. And that turns us going backwards towards more lockdowns and more restrictions, which don't even have to be ordered by the government, because hardly anybody's going to restaurants now. It doesn't matter whether, if you drive by on a main street, an Applebee's or what. Okay, nobody ever goes to Applebee's.
Exactly. That doesn't count. Try again. TGI Friday. Well, nobody ever goes to TGI.
Nobody goes there. All right.
Chili.
No. But you know what I'm saying? Just because you see some restaurants have patrons, they're all dying. They're all dying. It's just that the big chains have the ability, at least for now, to weather this storm financially, and all the individual owners are falling by the wayside. But if we go another 6 months to a year like this, I guarantee you there will be large restaurant companies that throw in it can't be sustained. Anyway, that's the explanation for the stock market today. And as someone who has an interest in that a lot, today is one of those very painful days, but I'm remaining consistent. I've said it for 4 years. I'd give up every bit of gain if it helped seal the deal against Donald Trump. And I have to tell you, if there's going to be a swoon, what a beautiful week for it to happen, because that just takes another one of the little arrows out of his quiver of bullshit, which is, ready? Here it is. And I'm frankly sick of everyone imitating Trump I'm sick of Stephen. I'm sick of all.
You can't
but you have to do it. But here it is. Ready? Take a look at your 401ks. If Biden gets in, they're going to zero. I have news for you. People who have waited to vote, all right, and have thought, well, but at least I'm doing better in my stock market. I'm doing better in my savings. I'm doing better in my investment. If we get a several thousand point correction this week, right before the election, they will walk into that booth and they will think twice. And that will be another reason. That'll be another off-ramp from Trumpism for people who will realize, because if you're sophisticated enough to have money in the market and know what you're doing at any level, you realize that Donald Trump is the bullshit artist of bullshit artists. And many of the gains that you have enjoyed the last 4 years are based on bullshit. They are. They're bullshit.
Well, let me read you Charlie Gasparino's take, because this is going to come up a lot. He's on Fox Business now. He used to be our friend on CNBC.
Can I, before you start, can I just say that if anybody out there is thinking that this is a conspiracy against Donald Trump this week,
that
big stock is trying to hurt him this week,
Big business hates Donald Trump. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Let me see. Also underlying the market volatility of recent days is the reemergence of the trade. And the trade is that Joe Biden is slipping the polls and the chances are increasingly dramatic that a contested election will roil stocks, hedge fund traders say that to Fox Business. This trade disappeared about a month ago when Biden seemed poised to win easily over Donald Trump and contested election fears waned, but battleground states are tightening and it's back. Combine this with an uptick in COVID and you have what you are now seeing in stocks. He's saying COVID is part of it, but he's saying the tightening in the polls and the possibility that we may not have a winner on November the 3rd and a drawn-out election, that's why you're seeing the stock market take a giant shit, Brad.
If the COVID numbers had remained constant down at 30,000 a day instead of 80,000 a day, I don't think we'd be having this discussion today. The market wouldn't have moved. And everyone has thought for months, I don't think this is a new thing, that there's going to be a contested election. Donald Trump has said there is going to be a contested election. Unless I win, then it's fair. He has said that for 4 years. He said it before the last election, and he fucking won that one.
The polls look good, and it did appear to be a blowout. The word landslide is being thrown about. And
he's going to contest it even if it's a landslide by Biden.
Even if he loses Texas, Arizona, and Georgia, and North Carolina, and Florida. That'll be cute. That'll be extremely cute. Is the Trump campaign going to make the argument to a bunch of morons, because people who are with any education at all will not buy this, that the market is now scared, and you're seeing what the market is doing in a joke? They're afraid that Joe Biden's going to be president.
No.
And you're seeing the Wall Street types scared shitless because they are afraid of a Biden-Harris ticket winning and going to the White House.
Well, that never made sense, even if someone thought it, and even if Donald Trump thought to tweet it, because the minute that Joe Biden becomes president, there will be a lot more money dumped into the economy. Because assuming that Joe Biden is the president and there's a Democratic Senate, they're gonna open up the spigot, and the spending is going to continue, and people will be made more whole than they are now, and be able to continue on. And maybe into the spring and in the summer, we do have a viable vaccine for the coronavirus, and there can be some semblance of normalcy. And the LA Dodgers can play a game without a fucking moron infecting the entire team. Can we talk about that?
That's ridiculous.
This has to be possibly the stupidest thing in the history of sports. This is worse than Merkel's boner. This is worse.
Boner,
this is worse. Yes.
Holy fucking shit. Polo Grounds for 1,000, Alex.
But was that 1920?
It was like way before, like, your parents had never met. I think your parents were children.
They weren't born.
So
1920. They weren't born. They were born in 27.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
If you don't know what that is, just Google that, and it'll come up as a whole Wikipedia thing. It's a great, and it's not a silent porn tape. Merkel's boner from 1920.
No, it's not.
Okay. That's not what it is.
Justin Turner was the guy, and they pulled him from the World Series. But when they won the World Series, he stormed the field, jumped around, and celebrated and hugged with his teammates.
Now, don't they have to quarantine all of them for 14 days?
Well, after the
parade. Are they going by the Mike Pence rule, which is I don't give a shit, I'm an essential worker.
Fuck you guys, I'm going out. That's the Mike Pence rule. Jesus will save me, and he'll save all of you. So pray harder. No, they have to have the parade. So I don't know if they can COVID him or keep him going for the parade or whatever. I'm not really sure about all that. I personally feel, when it comes back to the stock market and what we were talking about, that I think the stock market had already bet on Joe Biden winning the election. And I think you were seeing that being traded, and they were perfectly okay with it. I think that's been in the works for at least a month now when it comes to the Wall Street trades and stuff like that.
I do agree that a definite decision, some certainty, is more important than which guy wins. Mm-hmm. Because if you can provide a stable environment and not have civil unrest and not have cities burning and people protesting for weeks and months all over the country over the cheating and the obnoxious use of lawyers in every state to try to overturn and stop the count. I mean, you can really see the setup, and Trump telegraphs this, and this isn't the beautiful thing about him. It's the dictatorial thing about him, where he's said in the last few days that there damn well better be a decision by 11 o'clock on election night, which, you know, there's 25 things disgusting about that. And number one, which is, wait a minute, most of the elections in our life have not been decided by 11 o'clock at night on election night. What the hell makes you think now that with all of the things that are going on, that there's going to be one? So he's setting a predicate right now, and he's setting the table for trying to stop the count, and he's trying to set the table for not only stopping the count overall on November 4th, the next day, he's definitely trying to stop the states individually. You've seen it. They got the ruling in their favor in Wisconsin that mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day but may be postmarked before, they're going to get tossed out in Wisconsin. They don't count. If they
leading to this particular quote, this tweet from Eric Holder, the former Attorney General of the United States. Given the Supreme Court rulings on mail ballots and Trump's effort to undermine the Postal Service, I strongly suggest you now vote in person. That is, if you have a mail ballot,
everybody's saying that now.
We are less than a week away from Election Day.
Yeah.
If you waited until now to put it into a mailbox, don't do that, and you need to vote in person or find a drop box. He's talking about the drop boxes. Protect your health, but don't let anyone deprive you of your most precious right. Have a plan. And, of course, we would remind you that early voting is in place in North Carolina now through Saturday. So you still have chances to vote in person early in North Carolina through Saturday. Yeah. Otherwise, you need to make a plan to be out there very early on Election Day, as early as you possibly can.
Right. I mean, so many people have heeded that advice early and either voted early or sent it in very early. And, you know, a couple months ago, we were saying, well, wait a minute. The Postal Service delivers 1 billion pieces of mail every day for Christmas. They should be able to handle this. But that was long before Trump and his henchman, Louis DeJoy, the Postmaster General, figure out a way to completely screw up the Postal Service. 270 years of nothing will stop us except a dictator. So, yeah, you don't want to be messing around with that now if you don't have to. And
early voting in the U.S. has hit 51% of the 2016 total, according to the Washington Post. That happened just today.
Right. That's really impressive. And that really shrinks if you think that Trump's rallies have any effectiveness. I don't think they have any effectiveness. I think that they are backfiring rallies because they are living, breathing commercials for how irresponsible Donald Trump is, how he doesn't care about anybody except himself, how he's into just being bathed in applause by people all over the place. People, you know, at the beginning of almost every rally, within about the first 2 minutes, they get a chant going of, "We love you, we love you." And he stops and he enjoys it. It's the greatest moment of his day each time that happens. I mean, it's really, really creepy. It is. It's just creepy. And, you know, we're going to see which approach works, because the discipline that the Democrats have shown with these drive-in rallies, and whether it's Joe Biden doing it or Barack Obama doing it, I have an asshole on my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just he's a troll.
There's one on our YouTube Live right now.
Right. We have them all over the place. But a guy put up a thing yesterday, and he made sure I saw it. And he said, Barack Obama campaigning for Joe Biden? I thought Biden had it in the bag. Okay. So this is like the idea that's a weakness.
That's
to have Obama. Right. I mean, this is what they're down to.
It's like when Washington. That's like when Washington played the Dallas Cowboys. Washington throwing the football. I thought the Cowboys sucked. Well, they do, but you still throw the football and beat their ass. That's dumb as shit, dude.
And the idea that Joe Biden has a bench full of people who speak on behalf of him, including President Obama, including Kamala Harris, who is just a slight bit more dynamic than Mike Pence. Mike Pence came to Greensboro on Tuesday, and he was at the airport. They got about 200 people there, and about 12 of them had to be revived. They had to slap them awake because they fell asleep, because
that was nothing compared to Trump's rally in Omaha, where old people nearly froze to death out in the parking lots. Was that disgusting or what?
Well, but isn't that? I'm looking at that story here right now. Hundreds of fans were stranded as shuttle buses couldn't reach them to go back to the parking lot. And in the event, the Omaha Police Department was warning that the parking was maxed out and the shuttles wouldn't be. But it's perfectly emblematic of Trump and it being all about him. He doesn't care. He flies in somewhere, and not only does he not give a shit about how people get there, whether they're going to be safe, whether they're wearing masks, whether they're going to all catch the virus. He wouldn't care if 7,000 people tested positive next week or at a rally. He wouldn't say a word about it. He wouldn't acknowledge it. But to have probably largely older people, most vulnerable, so brainwashed as to risk their own lives to go see him in 32-degree weather in Omaha in November, and then screw them over by not making the kind of logistical plans that have to be made when you have a large gathering. Didn't we learn this at Woodstock? Didn't we learn that? Right. It's been 50 years since that. We thought we had that learned. Is emblematic of everything about Trump, and I think that every one of these rallies, I wish he would do 10 a day, because they advertise just how he doesn't give a shit about anyone in this country except himself. But to make it worse, at each rally now, he insults the people that, I'm not coming back here again if I don't win. I'm never coming to Des Moines again. You'll never see me in Omaha again if I don't win. You better get out there and text 7 people and make sure they get to the point. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you.
It is. It's exactly like that.
Fuck you for coming to see me. You are the dumbest ass moron piece of shit.
Well, is he wrong? I mean, right. And like, nobody can say to this campaign, you might be killing a couple of these people that might be wanting to vote for you in a few days. You might put them in the hospital, and when they're in the hospital, they will not be able to vote for you. I can't believe that no one has been able to make that connection.
But this campaign. Well, now he can say, look, we're so close to the election that even if they catch it, they probably won't show symptoms till after the election. So now I double don't care. Okay, he's already crossed.
I want all of my people to get infected and go cough on a Biden supporter when they go to the polls. Just start doing that and just try to kill off the Biden supporters. So at least if Biden wins, the people that voted for him will die. Oh, well, maybe that's the great.
We have a brother-sister fight over Trump here. This is a good one, and this is out of Omaha. We have a 52-year-old male Donald Trump supporter. He was looking outside of his window. His sister pulled up and yanked the Trump Pence magnet off of his car and drove off.
Jesus.
So he calls the cops and says, my sister is a Trump hater and she stole my magnet. Okay. The sister, who's 49, says that her brother's completely brainwashed with Trump stuff, and she took off the magnet because she was afraid it could spur people to damage the house. The brother then declined to press charges. So this really isn't a story, but it's just, it's probably emblematic of all kinds of things going on all over the country right now. But I'm happy to tell you that my Biden-Harris yard sign, untouched, and so is the one across the street at Jerry's house. Both of them untouched, and I guess I only go out about 2 or 3 times a week. I still haven't seen any Trump signs.
Well, if anybody tries to approach yours, the dog would go nuts. The dog would immediately start alerting you that somebody's trying to harm your sign.
Yeah, it's true.
You got a built-in protection on that thing.
That's true.
I'm seeing several articles now about pandemic fatigue.
Oh, that's old. We've seen that.
There's a new study or a new paper that's been published by some folks from the University of California, San Francisco. It's Alyssa Espel, and she is a professor in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences, and it's called Combating Pandemic Fatigue. How are you combating pandemic fatigue, Brad? Are you going to Trump rallies so you can see some of your friends?
You know, this is the sad part. This, at some level, is an indicator that Osama bin Laden was right. Okay, because he used to say that about the United States. And remember that whole strong horse, weak horse?
I do remember
thing
this.
He used to say.
Yeah.
You know, he lived in a part of the world where people had to put up with all kinds of crap. Now he was rich, and he didn't have to worry about money. Richest family in Saudi Arabia, and the rest of that. But the perception around the world by a lot of countries of Americans is they're lazy, they're fat, they're soft.
Yeah.
And any image of us being reminiscent of the greatest generation, where when it was all on the line, we volunteered for the armed services, we fought the Nazis and the Japanese and whatever it took, and we sacrificed and we grew vegetable gardens and the rest. Although I think if you read closely about what went on during World War II, there was a lot of war fatigue. There was a lot of restrictions fatigue back then. We're tired of being told we can't buy hamburger.
I'd to eat meat.
We're tired of being told we can't drive.
That's right.
But in the end, the difference probably was, are you ready? Are you sitting down?
Okay.
Got your hands on them?
Sure.
There was leadership.
There was leadership. There was some of the best leadership in American history that America's ever had.
We have the #1 virus fatigue president leading the charge, telling people that they not only don't have to believe it's real, don't have to believe it's contagious, don't have to do anything except send their kids back to school, open up your state's governors. Everything needs to be back to normal. And by the way, for most of us, normal is what it was, about 4 years ago, before the last election.
That's
normal true. Is not what it was in January or February of this year. We don't want to get back to that. We want to get back to a state of nature before Donald Trump was the president at all. Okay, we don't want to get back to the way the United States was when Donald Trump was just the asshole president screwing everything else up, and we hadn't heard of the virus. Okay, and the virus is just the culmination of all this. So that's another one of his stock lines that he's running around. We just want to get back to normal. You can't get back to normal until we mitigate this virus as best as possible, and or a vaccine comes along, and we can turn this ship around. This is going to happen. All of the smart people, all of the smart doctors, and by the way, are you up with the Jared Kushner tapes that have been put out by Bob Woodward today?
Yeah.
All right.
Jared is the gift that keeps on giving. He truly
Jared
is.
Kushner. And by the way, if you haven't heard these yet, they'll be everywhere except on Fox News. They'll be everywhere.
We can't verify those. Now that laptop with Hunter Biden's shit on it, that's completely verifiable. Right. But this, we can't be sure of the source on this.
Right. In addition to the fact that it makes our boy look bad,
of course.
But the Jared Kushner tapes, which just indicate that they considered Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, Dr. Redfield, Dr. Stephen Hahn of the CDC, that they were the enemy. They were the enemy. And Donald Trump was going to wrest control of this virus from them back in February and March, because they were already starting to say things that were going to cost Donald Trump re-election.
This is a story from CNN. Jared Kushner boasted in mid-April about how the president cut out the doctors and scientists advising him on the unfolding coronavirus pandemic. Comments that came as more than 40,000 Americans already died from the virus, which was ravaging in New York.
Britt, let me ask you this. Do you think that story getting out right now, as people are voting, and many more will vote next Tuesday, do you think that helps Donald Trump
I hope not.
Do you think that's going to turn around the suburban women who are supposed to love him because they said that back then? This is killer stuff. And for those people, and probably hardly any of them are watching us or listening to us, who think that the October surprise can only come from one direction, right? The right-wing Trump, Hillary's emails, James Comey, and now this Blikovic guy and Hunter Biden. That well, guess what? This is an October surprise, courtesy of Bob Woodward, because he could have put out these Kushner tapes weeks ago, but they're very, very effective now. And Bob Woodward doesn't hide his disdain for Donald Trump. But that's just the way it goes. Yeah.
Doesn't that become the story now on the Sean Hannity show?
Why is Bob Woodward putting these tapes out now?
Let him say it. Let him say it. In a world where they're trying to push a completely false story, a story with no legs, a story with no legitimacy to it, they have a lot of nerve. That and by the way, a president who was elected because of the selective leaking of information about Hillary Clinton and John Podesta's emails 4 years ago. They got a lot of nerve complaining that it's not fair that Bob Woodward put out actual audio recordings of Jared Kushner saying the kind of things that are abhorrent, whether they were released a month ago, 3 months ago, or 6 months ago. Now, they got no standing. And you are right, though. The issue will be, why are they coming out now? Too bad.
Well, this just shows that Bob Woodward is a biased journalist. He is not a journalist at all. He's biased.
It really bothers them when the other team plays the game better than they are. It really bugs them, doesn't it?
Which doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does.
Sometimes it does.
The quote from the tapes, there were 3 phases, Jared says. There's the panic phase, the pain phase, and the comeback phase. I do believe that last night symbolized the kind of beginning of the comeback phase. That doesn't mean that there's still not a lot of pain, and there won't be pain for a while. But that basically was now we put the rules out to get the country open again. That's from mid-April. The statement reflected a political strategy. Instead of following the health experts advised, Trump and Kushner were focused on what would help the president on election day. By their calculations, Trump would be the open up president. And that's what they've tried to be certainly for months coming up. Hey, Joe Biden wants to close the country down. We want to open it up. And meanwhile, I think we had 500,000 new cases last week, which I think was a new record.
Nobody's buying it. No,
we can't get to phase 2. We can't even start to get to phase 2. Because phase 1 is kicking our ass still. We can't even make it to the encore. They're still doing Hotel California. It's gone 30 minutes now. We can't possibly get to an encore at this point.
And the sad part of this, and it really is sad, is that it would not have been difficult at all for a normal person, and Trump's not normal, but for a normal president, any of the previous 44, and certainly, hopefully, the one that's replacing 45, to have said back in that time frame, in March and April, that what the scientists and what the doctors are saying is advice that we should all be following, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be terrible for the next few months. But on the other side of that, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity. So if we all pull together, you know all the right things that could have been said. And not only did he not say those things, he said the opposite of them. He falsely promised, he overpromised and underdelivered, and he set these ridiculous benchmarks. Remember, everybody's going to be back in church by Easter. Of course, he didn't realize that meant Easter 2021, or maybe 2022.
2024.
Right. He meant last Easter. And that was never going to happen. And then he set all these other unattainable lines, and everybody should be back in school. Now, you can't do that. You can't do that, especially if you haven't provided at least rational guidelines for everybody to try to follow. And then you say, all right, everybody let's follow these as well as possible. If you think you can open up your schools, go ahead. But that's a lot different from open up your damn schools, liberate Michigan, all of those things. So, you know, he doesn't have a leg to stand on. All he's left to do is run around the country and lie. By the way, last night, the Omaha appearance was only on C-SPAN. He didn't get it.
But C-SPAN 1, not C-SPAN 5. So
yeah, but it still doesn't matter if Hannity has 2 million viewers, C-SPAN has 100,000. Okay,
perhaps, yeah, you might be right about that.
And it doesn't. And remember, you really have to be a diehard to leave Fox News 4 days before the election and watch C-SPAN. And we think that's going to change a vote? No.
Is the Trafalgar Group known as being pro-Republican? Are they like Rasmussen? Have you ever heard of the Trafalgar
I think
Group?
So. I'm pretty sure.
Because I'm looking at the.
Is Trump picked out one poll to keep saying is the?
I think he's part of that. But I'm looking now at the Real Clear Politics with the summation of the latest polls. So, ABC Washington Post has Biden up by 17 in Wisconsin, right?
Well, yeah, that seems a bit out.
All right. Well, which one seems better to you? The Trafalgar poll, maybe of Biden +1. So he's either up by 17 or by 1 in Wisconsin.
Well, I would add those two up, and that puts Biden up by 9.
9. There you go.
17 plus 1 divided by 2 is 9. What? Any other polls besides
Michigan,
those two?
We got Michigan. The New York Times Siena poll has Biden +8, and ABC News Washington poll has Biden +7 in Michigan. So those are very similar. And Michigan does seem to be. It seems like the Trump campaign at least has declared Michigan a lost cause. Right? They're not doing anything in Michigan. They're pulling out.
I get it, but I don't care. And I don't consider any of these states lockdown states yet.
This is the only reason I read these polls is to piss you off because you want to disregard them.
Have you? Should Joe Biden just not go to those states?
I don't.
Should he do what Hillary? She do? Because he got them locked down like Hillary did.
Just call it a day. Go back to the basement.
That's the point. That's the point.
And
by the way, they're not going there. Okay. So
in North Carolina, this is a Republican poll from Civitas. Biden +1.
Yeah.
That's a Republican poll, and it's got Biden up by 1 in North Carolina.
Well, but the margin of error is probably 3 or 4, so it's a top. It's
sure it is. It's going to be 50-50. Georgia, this is a Monmouth poll. It's Biden +4 in Georgia. I mean, this is a big deal,
right? These are the trend.
Jeez.
The trend feels like a continuation of 2018. Okay, I think that's where Trump's fantasy, his insanity, his melting down mentally in thinking that he can recreate the exact same situation as 2016 is so warped, because he acts as if there was not already an electoral repudiation of him in this country.
Yeah.
It already happened.
Yeah.
And so you had this massive shift that caused about 30 seats in the suburbs of America. That's where most of the changes happen, to moderate Democrats mostly, and then there's AOC and a few super progressives.
AOC +3,
right? Most of the other Democrats who were elected around the country in what were Republican districts and caused the Democrats to control the House and Nancy Pelosi to be the speaker, not Paul Ryan anymore.
No, he went home.
He went home. He gave it up. Who was the speaker after Paul Ryan before? Who was in between those? That's how crazy this is. We can't even remember, because there was somebody who did it for about a minute.
From
right?
Paul Ryan before Pelosi?
Yeah, from Paul. Yeah, just look up Speaker of the House and see who was there. Because Paul Ryan, didn't he quit before the term was up? Didn't he throw in the towel before it was over?
No, I think he
just decided not to run, huh?
That's what it was. Yeah, he handed off the gavel to her.
All right.
Well,
so
there you go.
The Q card guy is going to get fired for putting that up there in front of me.
So you need to get. By the way, you need to see the Sarah Cooper special on Netflix.
I've already seen her now on like 3 shows,
right?
Hyping it. Is there anything more irritating than when the same person is a guest on every damn show you're watching? I I hate that. I just hate
How
that.
about this for your first comedy special? You have guest stars like Helen Mirren, John Hamm, Maya Rudolph, Fred Armisen, Winona Ryder, and Marissa Tomei. It's your first special ever on Netflix, and you have all of those people as guest stars.
Wait. No Bob Hope?
No, Bob Hope did not make. Righty. How about that? Is that wild?
But she ought to lip sync Bob Hope.
Oh,
that would be good.
Funny if she did that. The piece, and you may have already seen it, where they recreate the Billy Bush tape about grabbing the pussy.
I've heard her talk about it, but I haven't seen it.
It's art, Brad. It is absolute freaking art what they do with that. I have to say, it's really fantastic. You should go watch that right now.
I'm gonna watch that with the missus.
Yeah, you guys will enjoy that. That'll be a fun date night. Pop some popcorn.
She's a fan. Now, I did see her. Can't remember which show. It might have been on Colbert last night, or whatever else I saw her on. And the question was, do you know if Trump has seen you? And every time Trump ever pretends he hasn't heard of or seen somebody, he's completely addicted to hating them, right? So she said she didn't really know for sure, but she thinks he has. I think she's right, but I think it's a lock that he's seen it. I think it's for sure, because they've even shown her stuff on Fox. See?
Oh yeah,
and once that happens, he becomes aware of it.
Well, he probably wants to get with her too.
No, she's Puerto Rican.
Oh well, okay.
She's Puerto Rican. My God. Bring your paper towels.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
I didn't mean anything by that.